It is shocking sometimes, the lengths people will go to try not to offend anyone. I personally subscribe to the South Park model myself. Just offend everyone, and no one can call you a racist or anti-Catholic or anti-Muslim because really, they're just funny. They criticize everyone. But it does warrant a closer look because this is our society and the schools our children will attend in the future. And they look a whole lot different than they did when we were there or when our parents were there. So I want to talk about this with TJ McCormick, a radio host with LATalkRadio.com. TJ, what is with this whole political correctness thing? I mean, do you think it's a little overblown?
A little overblown. I feel like that it's sane people like us. I think there's this massive majority of people who are sitting here and looking at what do they want to check. And what do they want to? And we're the sane ones. I don't think anybody wants this sort of scrubbed up type of language. And what's interesting is that you know, a conservative like me can come to a place like RT, and I think we all agree on this one. You know, because there are factors from the left and the right. I think you have you know, you had back in the day you had the ultra conservative right-wing Christians who didn't want, you know, kids dancing to, they didn't like Elvis. They didn't like the Beatles with their devil music, you know, and insanity like that. And then, you know, and they wanted to ban dirty words and you know, and on old TV shows, you never saw the couple sleeping in the same bed. And then the left came in with their sort of odd censorship with, we're not going to say handicapped, we're going to say handy-capable, we're going to say disabled. I don't know what to, if I see somebody walking down the street with a limp, I don't know what actually to refer to them as. That limp, a person who used to be a cripple, but now, I don't know. You know, the other day, I was at a debate on Facebook as those things unfold, and I referred to blah, blah, blah. I referred to blacks. And I was murderized for saying blacks, and as opposed to, you know, what 20 years ago were Afro-Americans, and now we're, you see where I'm going.
Absolutely. It seems to constantly be changing. And I went through the list of these 50 words that the New York Department of Education wanted banned from the standardized test. They did sort of backtrack on that, but I want to go through a few. Halloween, because it suggests pagan rituals, crime, junk food, slavery, and rock and roll music. TJ, why are they taking away our rock and roll from us?
I think because they think they can. I don't know. These are people who have just way too much time. I hate to use a cliche like that, but this is crazy. You know what? You know what? I'll tell you what. I am offended at standardized tests. I had to go to summer school for geometry, okay? So I'm offended at geometry. So I think we should be banning all math tests, okay? I scored huge on my verbal, but I tanked it on my math skills. So you know what, kids whose feelings are hurt, you know what, actually this, as I say this actually starts to make kind of crazy backward sense. How about the kids who fail miserably in certain sections of the testing? What about those kids who go home hurt or have trouble telling their parents, I got a D, I got a 65, I got a 60, what are we going to start doing with those kids who don't do well in certain subjects? Are we going to start giving them a pass? Doesn't that actually happen in some cases now?
I mean, and let's just be serious for a second here. I mean, among the words on the test, poverty, slavery, I mean, these are kind of important things to learn about as an elementary school student.
They are, and by the way, I am being serious, actually, you know, because when you think about it, you know, it's kind of like with taxes. They say, well, where are we going to stop? Or with warning labels on food. So again, now in terms of the lexicon, where do we stop? And you're right, and interesting here too. We're talking about the left and the right. We don't want to say dinosaurs because that might offend some extreme right-wing Christians who don't believe in evolution. And at the same time, we're not going to say poverty because the people on the left are afraid of offending people who might be you know, living in urban squalor. So interesting, this is all coming full circle where both sides are getting kooky. I honestly don't know how to, other than, you know what, it's words. My background is as a stand-up comic for 20+ years. And you know, people went to jail in America to say certain words. A famous American comedian, George Carlin, and Lenny Bruce, another one, they went to jail and were prosecuted for saying certain words that today, if I was to go back to doing stand-up. There were nightclubs in Los Angeles, for example, where if one was to say, and here's an example of this silliness, if one was to say the N-word in a couple of comedy clubs in Los Angeles in particular, they would be fined. You will be fined now for saying certain words in a comedy club in Los Angeles and possibly in New York.
That seems like the one setting where sort of everything should still be allowed, you'd think. I got a fun fact for you, TJ. Tomorrow is the 87th anniversary of the day a biology teacher in Dayton, Tennessee named John Thomas Scopes was charged for teaching evolution in a public school. His trial, the state of Tennessee versus Scopes, also known as the Scopes monkey trial, made a history, and the final decision of that trial made it unlawful to teach evolution in any state-funded school. Have we come far from that day, or are things just sort of the same?
Apparently not. I don't know who we even know. Matter of fact, I don't know if we can refer to a monkey in this setting. Can we refer to monkeys, or are we supposed to say primates, or are we supposed, because weren't we supposed to have evolved from the, I don't know.
Lots of questions, certainly, and I know that it must be difficult if you're a teacher in elementary school, in high school, to try to think about that and make sure you don't say the wrong thing or persuade, your kids, your students in the wrong direction. Certainly tough stuff, but it's a fun topic to talk about on a Friday. TJ McCormick, radio host at latalkradio.com. Thanks so much.